Listen, can you hear it? Below the traffic of your thoughts, beneath the static of your anxieties, there is a silence so profound it sounds like thunder. It has always been there, waiting for you to stop running. Think about the hour that just dissolved into the past. Where were you, really? Your body was sitting in a chair, your lungs were drawing breath, your heart was beating its steady rhythm. But you were a ghost haunting a future that hasn't happened, or a prisoner chained to a memory that no longer exists. How many times did your attention fracture? How many times did you drift into the phantom arguments of tomorrow, or the regretful echoes of last week? You fear catastrophes that may never manifest, replay conversations that ended years ago, and in doing so, you miss the only thing that is actually real, this precise, fleeting moment. Your body is here, anchored in the physical world. But your mind is lost in a private storm, a hurricane of its own making. And you are not alone in this. This is the human condition. We are all sailors lost in the same tempest, pretending we know how to navigate while the waves crash over our heads. But what generates this weather? What is the engine driving this relentless noise? Why is peace so terrifyingly difficult to sustain? The Buddha, the great physician of the spirit, looked deep into the architecture of the human soul and identified three fires. These are not metaphors from a dusty book. They are active nuclear reactions burning in your neural pathways right now. They are shaping the color of your perception, the taste of your experience, and the weight of your burden. The first fire is craving. It is the hunger that can never be fed. It is the voice that whispers, "This moment is flowed. It needs more. I need that object, that status, that person, that sensation." It is a string inside your chest, pulled so tight it hums with anxiety, always vibrating towards something that isn't here. You feel it when your hand instinctively reaches for your phone, seeking a dopamine hit you can't even name. You feel it in the middle of a beautiful sunset when a sudden panic rises. How do I capture this? How do I own this? How do I stop this from ending? It is the inability to simply let the moment be. It is the addiction to next. The second fire is aversion. This is the fire of resistance. It is the burning rejection of reality as it is. It is the armored wall you build against the world. I do not accept this. He shouldn't be like that. This pain is wrong. Someone speaks to you in a tone you dislike, and before their sentence is even finished, your mind has hardened into obsidian. You are preparing for war. You are defending a fortress made of smoke. The present moment becomes an enemy combatant that must be defeated. Every inconvenience, every discomfort, every deviation from your preferences becomes a dragon you must slay. You spend your life fighting reality, and reality always wins. The third fire is delusion. This is the most dangerous fire because it burns cold. It is the fog. It is the smoke that blinds you to the other two fires. Delusion is the fundamental misunderstanding of what you are and what the world is. You think you are looking at the world, but you are not. You are looking at a projection. You are walking through a hall of mirrors distorted by your conditioning, your trauma, your assumptions, and your fears. You see a threat where there is only a person in pain. You see permanence where there is only flow. You see a solid self where there is only a changing process. The fog is so thick you don't even know you re-lost in it. You mistake your map for the territory. These three fires, craving, aversion, delusion, do not burn in isolation. They are a triad, a self-perpetuating engine. Craving screams for what you don't have. When you don't get it, aversion flares up in anger. And delusion keeps you blind to the fact that you are the one lighting the match. The storm feeds itself, moment after moment, year after year, lifetime after lifetime. There is a verse in the Dhammapada, ancient and terrifying in its accuracy, if with an impure mind a person speaks or acts. Suffering follows him like the wheel that follows the foot of the ox. Visualize that. The heavy wooden wheel of a cart, grinding into the earth, bound by an iron axle to the beast of burden. The ox steps and the wheel must follow. It is mechanical. It is inevitable. It is not a punishment from a god, it is simply physics, cause and effect, karma. When your mind is burning with these fires, suffering is the exhaust fume. It cannot be otherwise. But let us bring this down from the philosophical clouds. What does this suffering look like on a Tuesday afternoon? It looks like you, unable to hear your child because you are mentally arguing with your boss. It looks like you perceiving disrespect in a cashier's tired glance, turning a neutral interaction into a battle for your ego. It looks like you, drowning in a tragedy that hasn't happened yet, mourning a loss that is purely imaginary. You miss the sunlight hitting the table. You miss the taste of the water. You miss the grace of existence because you are too busy projecting your old wounds onto new moments. You are fighting ghosts, swinging your sword at shadows, and wondering why you are so exhausted. You could spend your entire incarnation this way. Most people do. They live and die inside the storm, never knowing that the blue sky was just above the clouds the whole time. But there is another way. The alchemists of the spirit have left us a map. When we speak of the quiet mind, the modern world gets it wrong. We imagine a dead screen. We imagine a void. We think the goal is to hit a delete button on our thoughts and float in a vacuum of nothingness. And so, people try to meditate and they fail. They sit, and the thoughts rush in like water through a broken dam, and they think, I am bad at this. My mind is too loud. This is the great error. This is the trap. In the Satipaṭṭhāna Sutta, the Buddha did not ask for a dead mind. He asked for a mind that is ardent, fully aware, and mindful. The Pali word is Sampajañña. It means clear comprehension. It means a consciousness that is vivid, brilliant, and razor sharp. It is not the silence of the graveyarded. It is the silence of the mountain peak. It is a high altitude awareness where the air is thin and the view is infinite. A quiet mind is not a mind without thoughts. It is a mind that has stopped fighting its own existence. It is a mind that is no longer disturbed by the noise it generates. Imagine a thought arises. I sounded foolish in that meeting. In the noisy mind, this thought is a hook. You bite it. You are pulled into the narrative. Yes, I did sound foolish. They probably think I am incompetent. I always do this. I'm a failure. One thought becomes a chain reaction, a spiral of shame that ruins your day. But in the quiet mind, the scenario changes. The thought arises, I sounded foolish. You see it, you acknowledge it, like watching a black bird fly across a clear sky. The bird is there. You see its wings, you see its color, you see its trajectory. But you do not become the bird. You do not grab its tail feathers and let it drag you across the horizon. There is a space, a sacred, golden gap between the arising of the thought and your reaction to it. In that gap lies your freedom. This is not suppression. Suppression is violence. Suppression is shouting "shut up" at your own brain. That is just another form of noise. That is just aversion wearing a different mask. We are speaking of something far more elegant. We are speaking of the gatekeeper. The Buddha described mindfulness as a wise gatekeeper standing at the entrance of a great citadel. The gatekeeper sees every person who enters and leaves the city. He does not stop them. He does not fight them. He does not run after them. He simply knows them. Here comes anger, he notes, and anger walks in. Here comes joy, he notes, and joy walks in. Here comes fear. Here comes boredom. The gatekeeper remains at his post, calm, watchful, untouched. He is the witness. He is the knowing quality of the mind that transcends the content of the mind. Later traditions refine this image into the metaphor of the mirror. Think of a pristine silver mirror. A fire burns in front of it. The mirror reflects the flames bright, hot, dancing. But is the mirror hot? Does the mirror burn? No. Then, a block of ice is placed before it. The mirror reflects the cold, the frost, the blue stillness. But does the mirror freeze? No. A beautiful face appears. The mirror reflects beauty without pride. A grotesque face appears. The mirror reflects ugliness without judgment. The reflection arises, stays for a moment, and vanishes. The mirror remains. It is empty of preference, yet full of everything. It is always ready to receive the next moment. Your mind can be this mirror, not empty of life, but spacious enough to hold it all. Not dead, but vibrantly, electrically alive to the texture of reality without being scarred by it. Test this. Watch yourself in traffic. The scenario is classic: someone cuts you off. The biological machinery kicks in. Adrenaline floods your system. Hands grip the wheel. The jaw locks. Heat rises in the chest. The noisy mind says, "He attacked me! I am angry. I must retaliate!" You become the anger. You merge with the fire. The quiet mind, the mirror mind, does something extraordinary. It feels the heat. It notices the jaw clenching. It hears the thoughts screaming. But it steps back. It observes the phenomenon. It says, anger is present. It is a sensation, not an identity. It is a weather pattern moving through the sky of your awareness. You are not the stormy, you are the sky. You are the vast, open space where the storm is allowed to happen. When you find this stillness, this silent thunder of the void, you begin to perceive truths that were invisible when you were drowning in the noise. The fog of delusion begins to lift. You begin to see the first great truth, Anicca, impermanence. We know this word intellectually, but to see it viscerally is a shock to the system. Watch the anger again. When you are lost in it, it feels solid. It feels like a block of iron in your chest. I am angry. It feels like it will last forever. But when the gatekeeper watches, the solidity dissolves. You see the anger is not a blockade, it is a vibration. It is a wave. It arises from a condition. It peaks like a crescendo in a symphony. And then if you do not feed it with new thoughts, it breaks. It scatters. It fades into the sand. The heat dissipates. The thoughts lose their magnetic charge. The physical tension softens. And what remains is just the quiet that was underneath it all along. The cycle of an emotion takes 90 seconds, perhaps a few minutes. It arises, it abides, it ceases, it flows. When you see this directly, the grip of the ego loosens. If anger is just a passing cloud, why build a home in it? If joy is a passing sunbeam, why try to lock it in a box? You see that your sadness, your ecstasy, your body, your relationships, the stars overhead, and the ground beneath your feet is all flowing. It is a river that never freezes. You suffer not because things change, but because you are trying to build a stone castle on running water. You are trying to make the permanent out of the impermanent. Reality refuses your demand. But when you see Anicca, your hands open. Not in defeat, but in release. You stop grasping at the water, and finally, you can float. And then deeper still, you see the second great truth, Paticca Samuppada, dependent origination, the interconnected web of existence. In the storm, you see yourself as a victim and others as villains. He made me angry, a simple, linear blame. In the silence, you see the tapestry. You see that the person who cut you off is driven by their own fires, their own rushing anxiety. Perhaps a fear of being late instilled by a harsh father. Perhaps a momentary distraction caused by their own grief. They are caught in the wheel of the ox just like you. You see that your anger didn't come from their car, it came from your expectation. It came from your fatigue. It came from a memory of being respected 10 years ago that you haven't let go of. Everything is borrowing its existence from everything else. Nothing stands alone. The harsh words spoken to you today echoes a harsh word spoken 100 years ago in a lineage of pain you cannot see. When you see this, when you see that everyone is sleepwalking through their own storm, judgment transforms into something higher. It becomes compassion. Not the soft, sentimental compassion of a greeting card, but the fierce, clear-eyed compassion of understanding the mechanics of suffering. You realize that they are burning, just as I have burned. You stop taking the universe personally. But how? How do we forge this golden mirror? How do we stabilize this gatekeeper? The Buddha was practical. He gave us technologies of the mind. The first is anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing. It sounds too simple to be the key to liberation, but do not be deceived. Breathing in long, one understands, I breathe in long. Breathing out short, one understands, I breathe out short. You are not forcing the breath. You are not the dictator of your lungs. You are the observer. You are intimately accompanying the breath, riding the wave of inhalation and exhalation. And here is the magic: your mind will wander. It will run away to the past, to the future, to fantasy. This is not a failure. This is the gym. The moment you notice, I have wandered. That moment is the bicep curl of the soul. That is the moment of awakening. You gently, without judgment, escort your attention back to the breath, again and again and again. 10 minutes a day. You are cutting a new groove in the vein of your mind. You are teaching your brain that it is possible to detach from the story and return to the sensation. You are building the gap. The second technology is metta, loving kindness. You dissolve the walls of the ego by actively generating goodwill. May I be safe. May I be happy. May I be healthy. May I live with ease. And then you push the boundaries. You extend it to the ones you love, then to the ones you ignore, and finally to the ones who challenge you, the ones who hold the torch of aversion in your life. You include them in the circle not because they deserve it, but because you deserve to be free of the poison of hatred. You realize your deepest wish to be free of suffering is identical to theirs. These practices create passaddhi tranquility, the cooling of the fires. When the mind cools, you can finally see. You watch the body's sensation arising, passing. You watch the feeling pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. You watch the mind states greedy, hateful, confused, clear. You become the scientist of your own experience. And the liberation suttas promise us knowing and seeing thus, one's mind is liberated. Liberation is not a place you go. It is a clarity you inhabit. But understand this, traveler, this is not a pill. This is not instant gratification. This is the great work. A student once asked a master, "How long will it take to reach enlightenment?" The master replied, "Every time you see clearly, you are enlightened. Every time you are lost in the fog, you are an ordinary being. You will be both 1,000 times a day. There is no destination. There is only the return. So you practice, you sit, you breathe, you watch. Some days the mirror will be clear. Some days it will be covered in mud. This is the path. The mud is part of the path. The clearing of the mud is the practice. The Dhammapada promises, if with a pure mind a person speaks or happiness follows him like his never departing shadow. A pure mind is not a mind that never gets angry. It is a mind that knows it is angry, sees the fire, and chooses not to throw more wood on it. It is a mind that responds rather than reacts. A quiet mind is not the end of the journey. It is the vessel that allows you to sail the journey. So begin right now. Take one breath. Feel it enter the nostrils, cool and sharp. Feel it fill the chest. Feel it leave, warm and soft. Just that one breath. You have just returned home. Be patient with yourself. The storm has been raging for a long time. It takes time for the waters to settle. But the ocean floor has always been still. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Here, now wake. May you find the stillness that holds the world. May you see the fires for what they are. May you walk this path with courage of a lion and the gentleness of the wind. This is the way, and you are already walking it.